Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and happy holidays. Today I am giving you a little Christmas gift. I haven't done a coding tutorial in a while, so my gift to you this holiday season is a fashion design contest game. I am very excited to show you all how to do this, so let's get started. Okay, so I'm starting on my profile. This is where I have all of my projects, so I hope that you are following me. These are my shared projects, and these are my favorite projects. If you followed one of my tutorials, then make sure that you go down to the comment section on my profile and comment a link to your game so that I can check it out and give it a love and a favorite, so it will show up on my profile. I will also add it to my tutorials and help center studio, where you can get help for all of my tutorials and answer a question of the week. This week's question is, what holiday are you celebrating this time of year, and what is your favorite thing about it? So if you show me a link to your project, it'll go in that studio and you'll be a featured coder in the description. I cannot wait to see what you guys code, so don't forget to share it with me. So before we get started, let's try out how this game works. So here it is. You might already be watching live on my YouTube video, which is embedded in Scratch. And you can always find a link to one of my videos on the project on Scratch. One of my favorite things about this game is the music. It's so good. You won't be able to hear it while we're coding, but in the finished project, you'll be able to hear it. So in this game, you can choose your model. I'm going to choose that model. You can choose different pants, different tops, and different dresses. Okay, so let's try that again. So I can choose different pants, different tops, and different dresses, but you have to be wearing something to submit. So we're going to get to code that later on. So I'm going to choose these pants, this top, and I'm going to choose that little fanny pack and that hat. And then if I press submit, see, I got 23% of the votes, and the other person got 77%. So it told me to try again. If I look at the project page, then I want you guys to comment your highest score down below. The highest one so far is 91%, which is really high, but it's a random number, so you can just keep trying and see how high you get. Now it's time to get into the coding. So let's go back to my profile, and then you go to the one that says template in all caps. And both of these projects will be linked in the description. So the template, like in all my other videos, it has all of the graphics and stuff that you need, but there's no code inside of it. So to get started, press this green remix button right here, and it'll give you a copy of everything that I used. So let's look at all of the stuff that I have in this project. So I have the robot models. So for the models for the robots, like the computer that you're going against, they have all different people, and then there are outfits that go over top of them. So it'll choose a random model and a random outfit for them to wear. Then there's the model that you choose, and you can click on the model button to switch what this model looks like. And then there are the tops and the tops button, and pants, dresses, shoes, etc. And everything has a button to go with it. So first, let's make it so that you can choose a model. So we also have two backdrops. One is the backdrop for the bedroom, and one is the backdrop for this. So we're going to want it to start at this backdrop. So at the beginning, it'll switch the backdrop to this one, which is called Asset 3 at 2x. They have weird names because of the way that I exported them through Adobe Illustrator, but you can just look at them to see what they are called. And we're going to take out the forever play the music so that the music doesn't go over me talking, but you can put that back in when you're done. Or if you just want to listen to it while you're coding. So let's go to the model, and at the beginning, we want it to go to its current position, which is 0, 0. Because later on, when they start to compete, they're going to be on this side. And then we also want it to change when the model button is pressed. So when I receive a new message called model, oh, there's a fire truck going by. So when I receive model, next costume. And at the beginning, you can have it switch to any costume that you want or any model that you want. But, oh, okay. At the beginning, it can switch to any girl that you want. I'll just put it as the first girl. And then let's go to the model button. And at the beginning, we want it to show because it's going to be in the dressing room. But when it goes to the other room, we want it to hide. So at the start, let's do show. And when this sprite is clicked, then broadcast the model message. So if we click on this, it's going to switch models. So that is already working. That's one thing down. But when the backdrop switches to asset 1, which is the runway, then we want it to hide. So we are going to drag this into all of the buttons, the when start click show and when it switches to the next backdrop hide, and also the message clicked button. So we just dragged all of those into the tops one. Then we're going to separate them and make sure that instead of broadcasting the model message for the tops, it's going to broadcast the tops message. And then if we go to the tops, we'll do when I receive tops, then next costume. And for this one, when the start is clicked, we want it to switch to any costume but costume number 1. For costume number 1, it is just an empty costume. So if they wanted to take the shirt off and do a dress instead, then they could use that one. But if it's that one, if you put it as this one to change to a costume 1 first, then it won't change to the right size because we want it to be at a 73% size because, wait, no. This one should be at 38, I think, because the sizes are weird for them, but let's have it switch to asset 1 at the beginning. Okay, so that works. But make sure that you put the switch costume to at the beginning before the set size, because when it's a blank one, it'll be too big and then it won't change to the right size. We also want it to go to the front layer in the beginning so that it is always on top. Now let's copy this into the pants. And whatever percentage size that you want that it should be is already here. So if this one should be 38%, then you should put the set size to 38%. For the shoes, they should be 73, and they're already at the size that they should be. But if you accidentally have them set to the wrong size, then you can just shrink them down to whatever will fit on the model. So the hat should also be 73%, the bag should be 73%, and the dresses should be, I think, let's look. Yeah, the dresses, let's try and put that at 73 or maybe 38 works. Yep, okay. So 38 for everything except for the hats and shoes and bags. So let's copy this into the pants. And then in the pants, we will have it a 38% and switching to the first costume is right, except let's change this to a pants message. And then let's go to the pants button and copy these from the tops button to the pants button. And then change the message to pants. So then repeat this for the dresses and the shoes and the bags, but we're gonna have to do something a little bit extra for the bags, but don't forget to change the size for the hats, the shoes, and the bags to 73 instead of 38. So let's go to the dresses. We're gonna copy the stuff from the pants to the dresses. So while we are doing this, I have a new video coming up where I am Christmas shopping for my family. I can't tell you what I got them yet, but you will be able to see it. I'll probably post it like day after tomorrow, day before Christmas, something like that. And this one, usually sometimes I have my mom edit my videos, but this time I have to edit them myself, because if she edits them, then she will know what I got her, which can't happen. So I'll be editing it myself and everything. Again, if you're joining the live stream later, then you can go to the links in the description to the example project and the template so you can go ahead and get started coding with me. And make sure that when you are duplicating the things into the buttons, you duplicate everything, all these 3 codes. The one that is for clicking, one is when the backdrop switches, and one is for when the start is clicked. And if when you're trying to drag something, it does this, then you can just use this button that makes it smaller and then drag them this way. And that will make it work. Okay, so for the bags button, we need to do something a little bit extra. So for the bags, they need to, actually let's copy the code for the bags first into the sprite that actually has the costumes for the bags in it. Because the bags, they need to go behind the hand, but for the fanny pack, it needs to go into the front. So we're gonna have to add an if statement to that one. Okay, so let's go to bags, and when it receives, it's like a new message called bags, and when I receive bags, then go to the next costume, but if, and then go to operators and get equals, then go to the very bottom of the look section and get costume number. Then let's go to the costumes and see the fanny pack is number 4. So if costume number equals 4, then go to the front layer. But then at the beginning, have it go to the back layer. But if it is that one, then it'll go to the front right after. So let's go to the bags button and have that broadcast the bags message. And then let's try that out. So we click on this, it's changing the bags. So it's behind the hand, but when you go to the fanny pack, it's in front. So that works. Now let's go to the bags and make sure that this is at 73%. For shoes, it should also be 73%. So if you've already changed it to 73%, then you can just copy the ones that have the same code, and that will work. And I'm going to copy the bags code to the shoes, but I'm just going to take off this one. And then I will copy this to the hats. Then let's go to Okay, so once you make sure that you have the code for all of them in each one, just go through and make sure that you have the when backdrop switches to the competition thing, hide, and at the beginning show. Then we can start making the competition part. But let's just go through and make sure everything is in there. Okay, so for the shoes button, it needs to broadcast a new message called shoes. Okay, that's working. And when I receive shoes, for the hats, when I receive hats, go to the next costume, make a new one for that. And then for bags, okay, that works. That's sending the right message. Shoes is sending the right message. Hats is not sending the right message. That should be sending hats. And then dresses, that's receiving the right message. That is not sending the right message. That should be dresses. Pants, that's receiving the right message. And that's sending it. So let's just go through and make sure that everything works. So the model is working. The shoes are working. The hats are working. Bags are working. Dresses are working. Pants are working. And tops are working. So we also want it so that whenever the person chooses a dress, the pants and tops will also disappear, so they don't have to go and cycle through to find the one where you can't see it. So let's go to the pants and tops one, and then duplicating where it says when I receive this message, then go to the next costume and have it when it receives dresses, then switch to the one called costume one. In all of the clothing sprites, the costume one is the blank costume. So then if we go to tops, we'll just drag this into the tops one and copy it. So now if we press the dresses button, it'll only show the dresses and it'll disappear. So let's try putting on some pants and a top. But if I click on dresses, they all disappear. So let's say they're not wearing anything, and then you put on a skirt and a top, it'll disappear. So that works. Now let's make it so that they can only press the submit button if they are wearing clothes. So when the submit button is clicked, we'll get when this sprite is clicked, then we need an if else. So in the else, we'll get a say block and say you need to put on a dress or a top and bottom to submit. And for the if, we will need an or and an and put the and inside of one side of the or. And then we will go to sensing and get the one that says backdrop number of stage, but we're going to get we're going to change this to tops button. We're going to change this to tops and then duplicate it and then change it to pants. And for both of these, we're going to change that to the X position to costume name and then get an equal sign for each. So like I said before, the one that's called costume one is always the blank one in each of them. So we're going to be able to see whether the pants and tops are blank or if the dresses are blank. And if either of those are blank, then it will say that you need to put on something before you submit. So if costume name of pants equals costume one, and if costume name of tops equals costume one, we will put a not, which means that they are wearing one of the shirts, and then we'll put a not in the other one, which means they're wearing one of the pants. So if they're wearing one of the pants and one of the shirts, then they can submit. Or if they're wearing one of the dresses. So for the dresses, we will just duplicate this and change it to dresses, and make sure that you put this as the costume name. And then we'll put that in the or side. Then we'll drag all of this into the if then. And remember, if I ever have a really long piece of code that you just need to copy, you can go to the example project linked in the description so that you can look at my exact code and copy it for yourself, or just put it in your backpack and drag it into your project if you need help. So if you are wearing clothes, then you can submit. So then you will broadcast the compete message. So let's go to the backdrops, and when I receive compete, then switch the backdrop to the competition backdrop. That means that it will switch to asset 1, which is this one. Now, we need the clothes to move over to the right place when they go to the other place. So let's drag our model over to the right side. Wait, actually, first let's make it so that they're in the right position when you're starting. So let's go to the clothes, and wherever they are currently at the beginning, you want them to go there, so that when they're in the bedroom and they're choosing their clothes, it will be in the right spot, because that's what we were coding already. So go to each piece of clothing, and for example, in the tops, get the go to and put it at the beginning. So go to -850 for this one, because that's where it already is and the tops are in the right place. So then go to pants, and the pants are at -11, -31. So then drag that out and put it there. Scratch will automatically use the coordinates that the sprite is already at, so you can just drag that out and put it in the when start clicked. And do the same for the dresses, the hats. This should be pretty quick, because just whatever is already there will automatically show up, and you just have to drag it into your when start clicked script. Once you're done, you can just go through and make sure that everything has a go-to thing in it. So the shoes and the bags do, the dresses do, the pants do, and the tops do. So everything at the beginning will go to the right spot. So that works. And at the beginning, if we want it to have an automatic outfit, let's just make the automatic outfit for the dresses costume 1, but since it can't be costume 1 to choose to the right size, we'll have it switch to costume 1 after it sets the size, but at the beginning, switch to the first dress, or whichever dress you want it to be. So then it'll go to the right size. Okay. So now when it's submitted, then we will drag our person over to about right here, and then we'll put the hat in the right place. And then when I receive compete, then go to its current position, which is 132.78. Now let's go to the dresses and drag that over to the right position on the person so that it fits well. And then get the current position for that. And when it receives the compete message, it should go to that area. So let's just try this out as an example. So for the dresses, it's being weird. Okay, so that's what I didn't do. Okay, so the dresses are the right size, and I will have a dress on and a hat on, and when I press submit, these are going to the right place, but the model and the shoes are not because I didn't put that code in there. So the model should go about here. So when it receives compete, go to the position that it's already in. So let's try that. There we go. And I think the model should move down a little bit because you can see your shoulders through the thing. There we go. And then if you are ever modifying it, then just make sure that the coordinates match where you want it to be. So instead it's about 139 and the y is now negative 12. So if I try that, then it works. So now let's go to the shoes, and we're going to drag those to the right place on the person. And that coordinate is 123 negative 131. So then when it receives the compete message as usual, then it'll go to that spot. Let's copy that into, let's do the same thing with the bags. We're going to go to the, we're going to add a bag so that it'll show up in the right place. I think the bags are not at the right. Oh, okay. So the thing that's wrong with this is that it's switching to a blank costume at the beginning, so the sizing is wrong. So if it's at a blank costume, just make sure that it is switching to a costume that has a bag in it at the beginning. So any automatic outfit will have a bag in it. There we go. So that's the right size. And let's also make sure that the submit button will disappear when the backdrop switches to the competition thing. So just when backdrop switches to asset 1, then hide. And at the start, show. So if I press submit, it'll say you need to put on a dress or a top and bottom to submit. I will put on some pants. It looks the same thing is happening with the pants. That needs to be at like asset 16. There we go. So everything is the right size. If I press submit, the things are not going over because I haven't done those yet. So for the tops, let's drag that over and see where it should be. So if that is the right place it should be at, then I will get the go to this spot. And when I receive compete, go to that spot. For the pants, I'll do the same thing. I will drag them to where they should be on her, then get the right go-to block. And when I receive compete, go to that spot. And the final thing is the bags. I'll just drag that to like right here. And we'll get the go-to block for that. And last but not least, when I receive compete, go to that spot. I will be right back. I need to plug my computer in. Okay, it's plugged in. Okay, let's test this out. And when I press submit, it goes to the right side. So now we can start doing the competition aspect. So you can see down here that I have I have a little thing that says versus, which means I need a robot over here. And this says counting votes, you won, try again, or it's a tie. So these things will show up once the score is calculated, and this calculating thing will show up while the votes are counting up. So let's go to the robots, and let's see. When backdrop switches to asset 1, which is the competition stage, then show. And we want it to switch to a random girl. So we'll have it switch costume to random 1 to 10. Let's see how many costumes we have. We have exactly 10, so we don't even need to change that. Let's try this out. There we go. So it'll switch to a random person. We want it to be at the same level as this person, so let's move it like right there. And then for the robots, we also want that to, we'll just copy this here and have this show and switch to a random outfit for the robot when it's time to compete. Let's move that to right here. And then let's make sure that it always goes to that position. So it'll go to -91, -41. And for the robots, they will go to -87, -18. So if I broadcast, so if I press this, it can switch to a random model, and then it'll switch to a random outfit for them as well. So now we have our competing person. Let's move that over a teeny tiny bit and then adjust the go to block. Okay, so that fits on the person much better. So now we need to have their scores display here and display here. So we're going to need some variables. So the variables are already here for you. There is next robot cost. There is robot score, your percentage, and your display. You don't need this next robot costume button because that was from the pumpkin carving game. If you watch the pumpkin carving game, then you will see that it's actually very similar to it because you get to make your own pumpkin and then compete. So this, you can just delete this one because I copied this game into the other one and use the same and use almost the same code, but not exactly because this is pretty different. So the only variables you need are robot score, your percentage, and your percentage display. So first, we are going to set the robot score to a random from 1 to 100. Actually, from 0 to 100. Then we will set your score to 100 minus robot score. So that means that basically if the robot gets, let's say, 40%, then 100 minus that is 60%, which means you got 40, the robot got 40% of the votes and you got 60% of the votes. So it'll be robot score, and then go to operators and get the subtraction symbol. Then robots score, 100 minus robot score. So if we run this, then we go to our variables, and the robot score was 67, and then your percentage is 33. So they'll both add up to 100. Then we will get a repeat until, and then your percentage display is so that your percentage will go up until it reaches your percentage. It will start at 0 and then go all the way up until it gets to your score and stop. So then repeat, changing your percentage display by 1. So we'll start by setting your percentage display to 0, and then repeat changing that display by 1 until your percentage display equals your percentage. And then we will set your percentage display to your percentage display, but also we'll use a join block so that it'll add a percentage to the end. So we'll put a little percent sign there. So then if your percentage display, let's just, as an example, we will set your percentage display to 99. So you got a really good score. Then if we join that, it'll be 99%. So let us test this out. Let's show both of these variables. 99 should go under this one, and the 33 should go under here. Since they're in a large format, if you want to see which one is which, you can just right click and use the normal readout, and it'll tell you what it is. So we don't want your percentage to show, so let's hide that. The only one we want is robot score and your percentage display to show. So let's try this. Okay, so it went to 64%, but it went really fast. So to make it go slower, you can make it as slow or as fast as you want, but I usually like to use 0.05. Let's try that. Okay, so now it's counting up, and it's going to stop at 74%. So that means that the robot score is 26%. And if we want that to show, let's see. So the robot score should show after yours, which means, okay, let's just switch this order around a little bit. So you know what? Let's just add another variable. So we will use another variable called robot score display. And since we've already calculated the robot score display, all we're going to do is the exact same thing that we did for your score, and just change it to robot score display. And then instead of your percentage display equal to your percentage, it'll be robot score display equal to robot score, and just change anything that says your percentage to robot score. And we'll see how that works. Okay, so if we set the robot score display to, if it's setting the robot, okay. So this is a robot score display thing. If we're clicking on this, it's doing the exact same thing and going up to the right percentage and then adding it. So this, we can hide the robot score, and then right click changes to a large readout and put it at the bottom. Then attach this back to the bottom, and then let's try that out. So we'll go back to the beginning, but let's also make sure that the robots do not show at the beginning. So for the robots, we'll get a when start clicked, hide, and then let's just copy that into the robot's clothes. Let's also make sure that these scores don't show. So in the robots thing, where it says when start clicked hide, then go to variables and get hide variable robot score display, and also hide variable your percentage display. There we go. So I'm going to choose this model, these shoes. Also make sure that anything that you want to be in the front, like the shoes, you can make it so that when it is clicked, or like when you're switching to a new shoes, then it goes to the front layer. So when I'm going to the shoes, like the boots will go over top of the pants. And then I'm going to choose like this raincoat and these pants. So you have the same problem with the tops. We'll just add a go to front layer when it receives tops, and that will fix the problem. There we go. And then I'll get those jeans. this bag, and then I press submit. My person's going to the right place. Ironically, they have the same outfit as me. That's kind of weird. But let's also make sure that the scores show, because we just worked very hard to make those scores work. So when it receives this costume, then like the same place where it says hide this variable, then also show this variable, the same variables, your percentage display and robot score display. So let's try that one more time. I'm just going to use the automatic outfit. And that one, so it worked. I got 50, that was pretty close. It was 51% to 49%, which makes sense because they're basically the same outfit. But let's see, the pants. Okay, let's make sure that the pants don't have a go to front layer, because the pants should never be in the front. But now let's make sure that at the beginning, both of the displays go to 0 so that you can't see a previous score. So at the beginning, let's set robot score to 0, or let's just change the displays to 0. So robot score display and percentage display to 0. And then we need to make the calculating and the you won or you lost thing work. So for this one, at the start, of course, we want it to hide because they haven't competed yet. And then when I receive compete, we want it to show, and then switch costume to calculating. And then we will get a message called when I receive display results. Then we will need 3 ifs. And then we will get an equals, a greater than sign, and a less than sign. We'll put each of those in one of the ifs. So if your percentage equals 50, then it's a tie. So switch costume to tie. Or if your percentage is less than 50, then that means that you lost, unfortunately. So switch costume to try again. But if your percentage is more than 50, then that means that you won. So we will switch the costume to you won. We also have some sound effects. So when you can do start sound crowd gasp when you are a tie or when you lose, and then play sound cheer when you win. So let's try that out. I'm going to use this same outfit and submit. It's counting the votes. Got 14% and 86%. So it has the message for display results, but once it's finished calculating, we'll just make it broadcast that message. So just to see how that would have worked, we will do broadcast display results, and it would have said try again. Let's do that one more time, and let's move this a little bit upwards so that they aren't overlapping. Okay, so I lost again. I got 26%, and the robot got 74%. So it said to try again. But everything is working. Unfortunately, I keep losing, but everything is working, which is great. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and thank you so much to all of the people who are watching and participating on Scratch and commenting all of these nice things. I'm really glad that I've been able to help you all learn some new things and code some fun things on Scratch. So I hope you all enjoyed this tutorial, and if you are following along and you finish, then make sure that you send me a link to your project so that I can feature it, I can give it a love and a favorite, and I can comment and just see the wonderful work that you've done. Thank you all again for watching. Make sure that you like and subscribe, and I'll see you again soon. Bye!